Hi everyone, my name is David Hunter, and this is a little question I wrote about demand curves. So this equation represents a demand curve because Q is on the left-hand side. A more rigorous way of thinking of it is because we have Q as a function of price. This means that whenever price changes, that affects the level of output that is demanded. So that's the demand equation. A more complicated demand equation, let's write it like this, would have the quantity demanded of good X be a function of its own price, but maybe the price of a substitute good, also the price of a complement, and maybe also income. So that would be a more complicated or maybe rigorous demand equation. And an algebraic example of the second general demand equation might be something like this, where we have quantity demanded of good X is 100 minus 4px plus 2py minus 3pz plus 40 times the level of income. Notice that any one of the variables on the right-hand side, if they change, affects how much of good X that you would want to buy. Okay? Now, to transform this equation into an inverse demand curve means to switch the Q and the P so that the P would be on the left-hand side. Now, to do this, we start with the demand curve as given, and we want to get Q on the left-hand side to the right-hand side and vice versa. So let's just do it in a few steps. Let's first add 4p to both the left and the right side, and that gives us Q plus 4p on the left-hand side, and 100 plus nothing on the right-hand side because the negative 4p and the positive 4p cancel. Then here we would want to subtract of Q from both sides. And again, the Q's cancel, leaving us with 4p is equal to 100 minus Q. And what's left to do? Well, we'll multiply through by 1/4 or equivalently divide through by 4. Okay, and that gives us our answer, which is that P is equal to 25 minus 1/4 Q. So 25 minus 1/4 Q, that's our inverse demand equation. Now the question is, why might we want an equation of this form? Well, a general formula for the line is y equals mx plus b. And you know that m, that's the slope, and b, that's the intercept, right? Well, our equation, p is equal to 25 minus 1/4 q. What do we have here? Our x variable is the same as q, and our y variable is the same as p. So whatever is in front of the x variable, and that's m, is the slope. So we therefore have negative 1/4 as a slope, and therefore the term by itself is intercept is 25. And that makes the equation with p on the left-hand side very easy to graph in the way demand curves are graphed with price versus quantity. This is also known as a Marshallian demand curve when it's graphed in this form. The inverse demand curve has an intercept of 25 and a slope of negative 4. And so we can just draw a downward sloping line representing our demand curve. And that's why you would want to have the inverse demand curve, because it's easy to graph. I hope you found that helpful.